And on that note, we are live. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to No Bucks Given, right here on the Horny Goat YouTube channel. It's, of course, the Sunday Night Delight, where we gather together and just kind of talk about whatever's on our mind, what we be feeling, as along with you guys in the chat as well. What's up, Alpha? Appreciate you popping in, as always.
Are you sure we're live there, buddy? Or
Yep.
positive? No.
There we go. It just takes YouTube forever, apparently.
I mean, trust me, given my technical background, I completely understand your hesitation. But what's up, Alpha? He's saying that it's a miracle he's even here right now. His parents had internet issues last night. New routers took all day to get the damn things to work. Oh, ugh, that's no fun. But it's a short crew this evening. We've only got myself, Heather, and Jay Pizzle with us on the call. How you guys doing?
We're doing. It's been a day. Tired, but other than that, doing all right.
Pretty much saying that, like, I think that just the constant tiredness just...
I drank earlier today, watching the Packers.
Okay, well, there's...
No, I'm fine. I'm over that. It's just, it was just a long day. It was a weird day.
It was a very lazy Sunday here as well. I took full advantage of as much of not to do anything as I possibly could.
Mm-hmm.
As much as humanly possible. How you holding up, Heather?
I'm doing all right. I had a gummy, but I don't feel it.
But you snacking?
Cheddar jalapeno crunchy Cheetos.
Oh God, I nope. Agina, goddamn Agina. I can't do any spicy shit whatsoever. It destroys me. I'm
definitely gonna be paying for this later, but
at least I don't know if it's better or for worse that you're self-aware. So we got a couple of things to talk about. Not a whole heck of a lot to talk about on this episode. Minor things here or there, but so it's going to be very ebb and flow, very freestyle. We don't have a whole heck of a lot of things on the list this evening, but let me just get this prepped up here and get all my work, get ready for the visuals here on the stream. The first big one, really, I guess, is the good old Vinnie Mac doc. Now, let me get that. Geez, that picture's way too big.
We've only gotten through the first 2 episodes.
Yes'm.
I'm gonna watch the rest of it. I'm intrigued by it.
probably have it on while we're cleaning a bit tomorrow.
I'm gonna just we'll go through some of the things, but I am not gonna shit on Vince at all.
Okay.
That man led a hard life. His dad, who didn't know him until he was 12, didn't think that he could run the business. And boy, was he fucking wrong. I think I don't think a lot of the things that people are saying about him are actually true.
Well, the first two episodes, you had more of Dave Meltzer speaking than anybody else.
Dave Meltzer's a fucking idiot.
Man has lied about so much in the business for so long.
So I did talk, I think I touched upon this on the HGGM that we did on Friday. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Check it out. It's a weird document. First off, production-wise, it's phenomenal. It's very well done from a production standpoint. Some of the people they got for this were kind of surprising. Not in terms of like, oh, it wouldn't make sense to interview this person. I'm more just genuinely surprised that they got the person. Like, Dark Side of the Ring was very good about like who they got a hold of for some of their episodes. Or it was like, wow, they really like. I was surprised when they got like they fucking got the officer who like was the first responder on the Benoit case. I'm like, damn, that's some deep digging. And this is kind of in the same boat with there, where there's a lot of like, they interview all the McMahons, so Linda, Shane, Stephanie, a lot of the big players of WWE. So you have your Hogan, you have Tony Atlas was one of my favorites. T-
He,
Tony Atlas is legit one of my favorites in the whole
I
thing.
mean, he had some funny one-liners, but I wouldn't.
He wasn't a depth of knowledge. He was the realistic voice in the room for the 80s of like, no, this is how we were in the 80s, and we were like really bad, and this, all these different things, and whatnot. They did touch upon pretty much every controversy that WWE has been scrutinized for, which that was also surprising for me. I didn't think. Now I don't know about you. Go ahead. Yep.
Oh, I was just gonna say what I did like is Vince was honest up front at the beginning. He said, "I do not like talking about myself. You want me to talk about other people? I'm all about it. I do not like talking," and I can completely understand that because people have already. He could say things, and people are just gonna shit on what he says. Oh, he's just saying that to get pity. I don't think he is. I feel bad for the guy. I really do.
He's
He's a billionaire, but I feel bad for the guy. I mean, I do honestly, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know how it would. I kind of know how he feels because my dad was never there for me for a lot of my growing up time. I didn't have my dad there to help guide me, So I was like Vince in a way where I had to find my own way, and I give my mom all the credit in the world for that fact. The guy was physically abused by his supposed actual, you know what I mean, his guy that was supposed to be his dad.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty fucked up life. That doesn't excuse. Is he? He's a billionaire.
So I just
right?
hear Haley's burping in the
He's
background.
gonna do things that he's gonna test the waters. He can pay people to fucking hush hush. But I don't think he raped anybody. I don't buy anything that fucking referee woman said. I buy not one red fucking cent of it. Because when she did that interview, I'm like, is this woman for fucking real? She's not showing any fucking emotion. She just seemed like she was faking it. I'm not saying that that's what happened, but I don't think Vince had anything to do with it. I think she was just trying.
I mean,
because
women
they
fake it all
did
the time.
They did not. She was butt ass ugly, number one, and anybody that thought she was fucking hot.
Great pillar to stand on there, JP. But go ahead.
Just being honest with you,
the easiest way to tell that she was lying is she literally sat there and said that she wanted a $500,000 contract. There is not a single referee on the planet at that time that was ever making that
yeah,
money.
she's like, and even Vince is like, Hogan wasn't making that money, like, at the time. Like, there was no way. So what I will say about generally speaking with the controversies, there are some that I believe more than others. There are how do I say this the right way? I feel like they gloss over some faster than others. There are some that are given a little bit more time than others will, and it's not the ones you'd think, which is kind of the weird part. You'll probably see this, JP and Heather will see this more when they get further into it, probably around episode 4, is a big theme is where is the line between Vince McMahon, the person, and Mr. McMahon, the character. That's a big theme for that one.
Well, a lot of the theme that I seen at the beginning is all of them were saying it. Vince is only going to show you what he wants you to see.
Yeah, I think Shane said something to that effect too, where he's like,
Hulk Hogan said it. Triple H said it.
Yep, and then
Tony Atlas even referenced it.
Shane's answer was one of my favorites, where they're like, "Do you think your dad gets a bad rap?" And he goes, "I think my dad gets the rap the rap that he exactly wants, that he's projecting out there." And I'm like, "Ooh, that's a bold statement." But No, it was. I think that as far as Vince McMahon goes, a big question, and obviously JP and Heather still have to finish it, but this is just my own take on it. I don't believe the documentary victimizes Vince, nor does it villainize him. It shows him that he's made some really fucked up decisions and some controversial takes, and that he's not a great human being. I'll put it that way. Businessman, you know what it is? I equate it to a little bit to like the Benoit situation, where it's like Benoit was a tremendous wrestler, best in the business, some of the in-ring stuff, and then you see what he did in his personal life. It's like, well, Jesus Christ. Like,
I haven't seen. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Finish what you're going
no,
to say.
that was going to be the last bit for now.
Oh, I haven't seen that. They talk a lot about the Benoit thing.
It's not a whole lot.
Here's the thing with the Benoit thing.
Mm-hmm.
Vince got a bad rap for doing what he did. People shit, and to this day still shit all over Vince for
Owen Hart.
Well, the Owen Hart thing.
Oh, how he responded to like some interviewers.
The one time he didn't fucking test it out. The one fucking time he didn't test it out himself, and he gets shit on for it. Fuck people. I don't care what anybody fucking says. The fault was on the guy that fucking had him up there and was supposed to know what the fuck he was doing.
Yeah, they talk about that.
Don't blame Vince for that. Blame the guy that fucking put Owen in that thing.
Yep.
And said, okay, don't hit this, or whatever he told him. His fucking wife can go fuck herself, and the horse she rode in on. I do not give a fuck. Martha can go fuck herself. Shit fucking happens. I'm sorry, but Owen Hart decided to get up there himself. It wasn't like, we're going to fire you if you don't. Vince was not going to ever fire Owen Hart if he didn't do it. Owen Hart chose to fucking do it. So there's that. But back to the fucking Chris Benoit thing. Mm-hmm. The day after, they did the same thing with Eddie Guerrero. You know why Eddie Guerrero died? Eddie Guerrero died because he fucking took steroids.
So
his heart blew up. Let's not criticize. I'm sorry. This pisses me off to the hilt.
Yeah,
with
you're
fucking Chris Benoit.
It's not the way they present it. They don't present it in the limelight. So.
But people to this day, my point is, people to this day shit on Vince for the Chris Benoit thing.
Right, but they don't really present it that way in this documentary.
Way to go about it.
Right, which is why, like, so that's the other part too, is that it's very bizarre that like there are situations and moments that show Vince of like, wow, he's a fucking like genius. He's a genius. And then there's other incidences that just paint him as this like, where the hell did that come from? And the thing of it is, like, to your point, they bring up his childhood and they mention everything that you mentioned before and his traumatic childhood. And while that is certainly like an understandable, like, oh, okay, now I get where, like, he mentions how his stepdad used to beat the ever living shit out of him constantly. And so I could very easily see that when you go from a dynamic of like, hey, physical strength and confrontation equals power. Yeah. And then you go from that environment or kind of getting that ingrained in your brain until you're 12. So you're just hitting adolescence. And where do you go? You go with your real dad who just happens to be, wrestling.
That? Yeah.
Right. So it connects the dots of like, oh, okay, like in his head, whether right or wrong, that like those core values explain so fucking much about some of the decisions and things he did. Like I was baffled. And some of the things that Vince actually says in there are just like, it's baffling to me. Again, like the guy is a fucking genius. He really is. But then you see these things where it's like, what in the fuck? There's an incident where like they talk about like how he made a certain business decision, did this, that, and the other, and he was like it was when Hogan and Slaughter were fighting, and Slaughter was the Iraqi sympathizer. He's like, well, what happened was we were gonna keep that going for a while because it was a hot, we've done it before with the Iron Sheik and mimic the culture. He goes, but now he goes, then we invaded and it got kind of a little like heated, so we kind of died it down. We switched out the venue.
So I grew up during that. I was a senior in high school when that happened. The reason why Vince did it,
I heard it was twofold.
Well, this is the reason that I think he did it. Vince is very patriotic.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? He's a hardcore American through and through. When we're at our toughest, going through our toughest moments, Vince got it. Like 9/11. I mean,
yeah.
He is very. When 9/11 happened, that's when they started doing the tribute to the troops.
If you look back at it too historically, Vince and the Northeast, as far as like they were the pioneers of the patriotic type of character. You had a lot of like patriotic characters. Not that you didn't have them in like WCW, but the Northeast specifically, and up in like Vince Senior's territory, that's where you started. I mean, shoot, you had, for God's sakes, you had Bob Backlund for a while, even beforehand, and then of course Hogan. I mean, Lex Luger. I mean, the amount of American goes on and on and on and on.
Vince Jr. You could see Vince Jr. had a vision. He seen where the business was going and needed to go. I mean, Ted Turner seen where it was going, but he
lacked the vision to get it.
He lacked the vision to get it there. Vince seen it,
well,
and applied it.
Ted's a different, a little bit of a different situation, because
Ted was a nut job.
Well, yeah.
At times, he could be a nut job.
He didn't micromanage.
That's Tony Khan.
Yeah, well, that's a whole different can of worms. Anyway,
he should have micromanaged. But so Vince is very patriotic.
Mm-hmm.
And when he did, now keep in mind, I was a senior in high school when he did what he did with the Iraq and Iran thing. It was pop culture. What was going on in the world?
Yep. What's up, KC? Is raw.
If you're looking at the reason that it didn't bother me, and Bob Costas can go fuck himself, honestly.
They have him for this too.
Because he's one of those. He's a journalist and didn't want to associate himself with something that. But what was bad about it? I don't understand what was bad about what he was doing. He was trying to make Americans feel good. Like
Vince, so it's funny, Vince actually addresses that, and he actually says, first and foremost.
Well, did he address? I know he addressed it.
Well, no, but he said a couple of times in the past too, in terms of reactions to journalists and stuff, in the sense he's like, I hate them. He goes, for the record, like, up front, he goes, I don't mind them, but I've been through the ringer a few times, and in certain instances he's like, yeah, he goes, I'll be honest, he goes, I'm mad at myself for letting them. I'm usually very good about not letting them get under my skin, but just for whatever reason they hit the right buttons that day, and just.
Oh, the Phil Donahue thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, but you're people. Vince seemed like one of those guys. He got very defensive when you're.
It's his business. Of course, he's going to get defensive.
Do you want
Cody?
him to just? Do you want him to just not say anything? Just
not
be quiet. Not defend why he did what he did. Do you want him to just say, "Yeah, I sucked at it"? There's a reason why. I mean, look, it's fucking TV. He's trying to give you entertainment. He's trying to take your mind away from the bullshit for a couple of hours. If you go back and watch the very first show that happened after COVID-19, when they did the lockdown and WWE did that show with Triple H and fucking Michael Cole, that was the greatest thing that they could have fucking done.
Yes.
That was fun.
Because they just took your mind away from the bullshit that was going on in the world today. And it was Michael Cole and it was like that was entertaining. And yes, you got to see wrestling, but it was Triple H and Michael Cole fucking off for fucking 3 hours. It was great. And I enjoyed it. Because I wasn't worried about fucking being cooped up in my house
And it was
because of
entertaining.
fucking COVID-19.
The other thing,
That's what TV is for, people. It's not for us to sit there and fucking say, "Oh, Vince is a fucking cocksucker." No, be entertained. If you don't want to be entertained, don't fucking watch it.
a big thing they also drill out throughout the documentary, folks, is they make it very clear of when the interviews were recorded.
That is true.
They make it very, like, through every episode. They either have interviewed these people in 2021 or 2022. Eventually, they will get to the Janelle Grant stuff at the end, but just to be very, spoiler up ahead. Aside from our good old buddy Dave Meltzer, there really isn't anybody notable outside of other journalists that are commenting or being interviewed about the Janelle Grant
they're
stuff.
letting Dave Meltzer shit on Vince for fucking an hour.
No, actually, I honestly, funny enough, I didn't mind Meltzer. He wasn't bad in this one, which is, I know I said the same thing. I'm not saying he was my favorite. I'm just saying he was tolerable. He was.
So we're up to the second episode, and they were talking about, or was it the first episode? They talked about WrestleMania 3.
Oh yeah, the fucking attendance shit.
Is, like, remember me? I told Trek, just who cares?
Yeah, who gives a shit?
Who gives a flying shit? The bald dude with the glasses said exactly what I've been saying about fucking the attendance in
cool.
Who cares?
I mean, it's a cool it's a
Basement said it best. It's you're supposed to blow up the numbers. It's a wrestling show.
Yeah.
It's fantasy. It's fake. That part of fucking wrestling is fake. The other part, let me hit you over the head with the fucking chair.
Yeah.
If you think that Swerve Strickland isn't hurting, there's a reason why he wasn't in AEW these last couple of weeks. That guy probably has a fucking concussion. I don't care if that fucking chair was gimmicked or not. That guy has a concussion.
But going back to the Vince stuff, no, it definitely felt a lot like a history of WWE documentary. That's for sure. Casey actually says
that's what I wanted it to be. That's what it should be.
Casey says it in the chat too. Documentary was great. Didn't really learn anything new. I wouldn't say there was anything new to learn from this.
There's a couple of things.
I was about to say, I think the biggest thing to take away from it, honestly.
Finish?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The biggest thing I think that was the takeaway from this is really like Vince's behavior, both in the interview of what he's revealing, and just weird shit in between, where kind of like, and JP and Heather may know this at the beginning, where he's like, I'm not gonna give you real answers. Like it's just like this weird evasive, like he does not want to embrace any form of fucking reality, and I've never seen anything like it before.
I think he only wants people to see what he wants them to see. It's essentially I'm going to tell you things. I'm not going to tell you everything.
Yeah.
Because it's none of your fucking business. You can ask, but that doesn't mean I'm going to fucking answer it. And he doesn't have to. I mean,
no,
yes.
It's not. It's just I don't know, like something about the way he handled, and you'll see more of it as you get further.
The Jimmy Snuka thing, because that we did see that. Go ahead though.
No, I was just gonna say is, like I said, as you guys get further into the documentary series, the theme of where does the separation between Vince McMahon and the Mr. McMahon character happen, and they actually bring up a pretty good moral point in terms of like, well, hey, we're trying to invoke certain emotions, so he gets almost like have his cake and eat it too, where he gets to be a dick do all these things that he wants to do from like a personal gain of power, and then it's like, oh, it's part of the storyline because in the end, even if he gets his comeuppance, like it's the ends justify the means kind of situation.
Uh-huh.
And it's a very interesting dilemma where I'm like, yeah, that's actually a really good effing point. Like, how much heat is too much?
So the one of the scandal things was the Pat Patterson thing.
Yep.
The one of the other two was probably they were probably
Doing the Ring
guilty.
Boys.
But Pat Patterson, nobody believed hadn't like I mean I can understand Tony Atlas saying he tried grabbing my pecker. Well, Pat Patterson was gay. Probably like, yeah. That's why he did it. He wasn't doing it to I don't know. I don't think Pat Patterson was a pedophile. Again, if Pat Patterson was, he would have been in jail a long time ago.
But
Again, the problem that I have with all of these people coming out and fucking doing this shit to Vince, especially that Mushnick guy, that fucking guy is a fucking douchebag.
oh yeah, the journal.
That guy's as big of a dirtbag as Vince is supposedly supposed
Yeah,
to be.
I was gonna say it was like with him with Sam Muchnick, who's a journalist who did a lot of hit pieces on wrestling, especially like the early '90s.
He didn't like it.
Like so here's the thing: is that to his credit, he does bring up some valid points about some topics selectively. I'm not saying he's knocking them all out of the park, but he does bring up some like, you know what? Yeah, that's kind of a fucking good point. On the other hand, though, he is like a fucking like annoying ass creep. Like he is definitely stalker vibes where it's like, dude, you're not doing yourself any like the way you're going about this is not good. I'll put it that way.
No, I
Like
don't
message
think
received, but terrible delivery.
I don't think Vince has dementia. If Vince had dementia, he wouldn't.
Yeah, if I don't think he's
If
I don't.
he had dementia, he wouldn't be doing. He wouldn't have done this shit.
He's more there than I think people. I could see Casey why you would feel that based off of some of his response times and answers. I mean, for fuck's sake, how old is he? 70 what? Jesus. So I mean, his response time might be slower, but no, he's still there.
He's cognitive. He's very cognitive.
Yeah, his creative's down the toilet, but
I don't
that's
think he has mental problems. Vince is just Vince. Okay, so as Connor has been saying, the separation of Vince and Mr. McMahon, there is no difference.
well, it's funny. Some people.
Okay, so here's why I say that though. Your wrestling character is the best wrestling characters are that person's persona turned up to 20, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you look at Stone Cold Steve Austin, his character turned up to 12, or his personality turned up to 12 is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Vince McMahon's character turned up to 12 is Mr. McMahon. I can tell you right now, he probably does not act like this around his grandchildren. We put it to you like that. He does not act like a fucking crazy person around his fucking kids. He doesn't act like an asshole to his grand.
That's another one thing that I was kind of that's the other things I was kind of like surprised about to Casey's point saying, he doesn't believe in concussions or CTE. So because okay, let me just preface this.
So I'm not gonna say he may say he doesn't believe in concussions. He does, because if he didn't,
well, I think what he's referring.
I can completely understand because you can't. CTE is not diagnosable
until you're dead.
Right.
It's not.
Right.
You can have traumatic brain injury, which is a concussion. A concussion is a brain bruise, if you don't know.
Yep. No, I do.
That's all it is. So it's a thing.
So
whether he wants that scientifically, Stone Cold Steve Austin doesn't believe in CTE.
Yep.
It is what it is. Like why? So that makes Vince McMahon a bad person because he doesn't believe in concussions or CTE? Come on, that's not. It's just they're making a
No,
bigger deal out of something. It is a big deal. I'm not taking away traumatic brain injuries are nothing to fuck with.
that's not
I've
what. That's
had
not how it.
concussions
That's not
before.
how they present it with him. So what I think what Casey was trying to say was maybe those are the reasons he thought that Vince has dementia, and I'm like, no, I don't think that's the case at all. What I think happens is I think that legitimately he has, and this is in line with mental problems. I'm not saying he doesn't have mental problems. He's got something going on. I think that he has a very askew, warped sense of reality to the point
Yeah.
where his perception of what is real and legit, or rather his perception that he wants others to see of him,
Or
is
story.
fucking weird as fuck. So everything he probably said, oh, nail that interview the whole time. And there's some things that you'll see if you've seen the whole thing. We do go like it's an eyebrow raise, like what the fuck was that? What did you mean? You hired Sable back after she sued you guys for sexual harassment, and then you went into an angle with her right when like what?
She went along with it.
I know that's what I'm saying though, is that it's shit like that they like. It's it's just
So
bizarre.
it was so I think Vince, when he does things like that, he's letting shit go. He's like, look, we're gonna play on this whole fucking.
Right. I'm just saying it doesn't
What
look it
happened?
doesn't look very favorable.
And I understand that, but he's not doing it. He's doing it for TV's sake. Vince McMahon, this is a thing that people are forgetting. When did he ever go over top of anybody in any of these storylines? He said, look, I'm going to let you destroy me.
So this is what I was referring back to as far as the too much heat. So the argument with that is Vince puts himself in angles where he's the villain and he's the bad guy and he's doing these horrible things, with the idea being is that there will be comeuppance at the end for him. Like at the end of the day, he will be the one that has the egg on his face, which is fine. However, the question then begs though, how far do you have to take those really bad things and say, oh, we're doing it for the sake of, we want you to feel disgusted, we want you to feel terrible. And that again is another like gray area of where does it blur the line of like, we're doing this for the sake of art, or it's like, okay, yeah, it's for art, but this is actually happening. Like this is an actual thing that's going on inside. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do.
The difference between heel heat and go away heat.
I think this is his way of saying I'm sorry to the people that like Sable. This is his way of saying I'm sorry.
Right.
It's a weird way.
It doesn't
I'm
look
not
good
gonna
though.
sit here and say it's not
Yeah.
normal.
Right. It just doesn't. And that's what it is.
But that's how he is. He's like, I'm gonna put myself out there to look like a fucking asshole to make everybody else feel good about themselves. That is honestly in a weird, odd
No, it's not weird. He sees money.
way is selfless.
No, it wasn't. Well, I wouldn't go that far with it. I would say that I would say that it's him being a smart businessman and seeing, oh, hey,
True.
the Bret Hart situation. What?
True. I agree with you, but I'm just saying this is hit in a weird, sadistic, kind of perverted way. It's kind of selfless of him to be put himself out there and have him be the bad guy. And get his comeuppance the way he does.
So I guess does
that make sense?
It does, but hear me out on this, and this is the argument they make inside the documentary is, okay, you want to make, and I'm not saying yay or nay on either side of the fence. I'm just saying this is what the documentary presents as far as a question to stew over, and it's an interesting one. And the question basically it would be, for example, you're trying to portray Vince as this sleazy, adulterous, egomaniacal maniac. So you see him doing all these things. It's mainly involving him and the women, and so it begs the question, like, do you really have to be like this scantily clad with them this close? Do you have to make out with them? Do you have to go this far with that's I think really where it boils down to, where it's like, okay, you're doing these things and you're kind of okay, like, do you really have to go this far with this shit?
Okay, so I liken it, and I talk about this, and I could probably pan this off to Heather.
Well, I would say I definitely want to hear Heather's opinion on this one too.
Let's think about Law and Order SVU.
God damn it! You fucking
go ahead. Go ahead. I'm being serious. So
we're gonna get sued.
Think about what I'm. You understand where I'm getting at? So I'm handing it off to you because I'm sure you got this right about this. Go ahead.
The thing is with Mr. McMahon and how they've presented him so far in this is, yes, it's a very deep-minded question that you could ask. I mean, where's the difference? Where's the line between the two?
Well, there isn't.
Not anymore.
There never was. Me watching this stuff, and I'm sorry, I know I'm talking, but with the difference between Vince and Mr. McMahon does not exist. They're the same fucking person. Like I said, it's turned up to 12. Go ahead.
The last thing I'll just say, and I'll throw it back to Heather, is they actually ask the top talent stars that they have interviewed for this that same question, and all of them say, no, it's separate except for one, and it was very interesting. And I'll let you think.
I saw the clip of that, and
damn it,
I know. Yeah.
Damn. Which makes sense. Honestly, it makes sense.
It does. It does. It really, really does. But the things he had done to his body between actually using the steroids, briefly, as it were, the chair shots to the head that Alpha brought up when he was taking the bumps, getting slammed into the cages, all of that. There's going to be some evidence of brain damage in his later years that he is in now.
Right.
So it's not dementia. He has brain damage. Go ahead.
It could be dementia. It could be Alzheimer's, which is beginning stages of dementia, or it could be prolonged damage from concussions or CTE. We don't know, and we will never know, because frankly, it's none of our fucking business to ask the man his health first and foremost.
So we're talking still Benoit, right?
I think she's talking about Vince.
I'm talking about Vince.
Okay, cool.
Because you gotta remember, he did do everything he asked his wrestlers to do.
He wouldn't ask his wrestlers to do something he wouldn't do.
I think it's a combo punch. I think it's a combination of the age combined with that. I think that has a part to do with it for sure.
So, and especially with him being later on in life like he is now, it's gonna be harder for him even to keep it straight a lot of times.
So I guess my question to you is, the allegations, like the storylines with Trish Stratus, the storylines with Sable, everybody shitting on the Vince McMahon character for doing these things. They love to shit on fucking Law and Order. It's him telling a story.
It is. Then you have little Miss Sable complaining when she was all but more than happy to have Slimeball Vince Russo's hands all over her fucking boobs for that handprint bikini that she wore, and she had no problem with it. So imagine Vince's surprise when you fucking agree to do that he comes to you with another fucking crazy idea.
Well,
and then finds that you're actually offended by it when you let a strange man who's not your fucking husband rub on your boobs.
So everybody's shitting on Vince again.
But they don't. But the thing is, they don't. They really don't. That's kind of the weird thing.
No. I'm not talking about this documentary. I'm talking about people in general.
Oh, Vince gets shit on for so many different fucking
Vince,
things.
I think Alpha said it. Vince could fucking resurrect Jesus fucking Christ and save the fucking world, and people would still shit on the man.
Yeah. Yep.
Why?
What?
If it wasn't for this man, and I hate to fucking say this, wrestling would not be around anymore. It would be nothing but indie shows and high school.
Well.
No. Wrestling would have died without Vince. I'm telling you right now. I honestly believe. I don't think wrestling would be as big as it is.
I mean, it's a strong argument to make, but
as big as it is today, no. It'd be around, but it definitely wouldn't be on fucking USA. It'd probably be on Spike TV. Oh, by the way, that don't exist anymore. My point.
okay.
Vince. No, I'm just saying Vince is the reason why wrestling is around today.
Okay.
Everybody needs to appreciate him for what he did. I'm not saying you have to fucking fondle his testicles or his grapefruits. But Jesus Christ, stop shitting on the man.
So
the guy put himself out there for everybody to see, and he's shown a lot. I mean, if he doesn't, go ahead.
The thing is, JP, is that they're criticizing him for valid reasons. It's not that they're criticizing him necessarily.
No, I'm going to tell you right now.
Okay.
I don't think they are valid reasons.
You don't think that there's any?
He's not allowed to tell a story.
What? When did I say that?
What are you talking about? What valid reasons do they have?
What I'm saying is that whether right or wrong, like for example, the Owen Hart situation, right?
Okay.
You could make the argument of why it could be considered to be Vince's fault. I understand it may not be that way to most people, or may seem it like the other way around, but you can at least logically put in your head, okay, I can at least understand why they would think it is his fault. I don't think they're correct, but I can at least put it together that way.
That I can understand.
Right.
But again,
most people with rational thought can understand that.
Correct. So my point is that Vince's criticism is not for the things that he is successful at. It's not that. It's these other side of him as a person where he's doing these other not so squeaky clean things that you kind of go, well, I don't know how that makes him look. That's why I'm not condemning him per se, but it's eyebrow raising or head tilting at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like I said, I don't think they make him look. I don't think they're pitchforks and torches him. I don't think that's the case.
Not this documentary. I'm talking about people in general.
Well, I mean, shit. Maybe people find reasons people find reasons to shit on people for no reason whatsoever.
You can have the same color grass as your neighbor. You can point to your grass and say, "My grass is as green as yours," and they'll turn around and say, "No, my grass."
JP,
Casey,
there's flat earthers out there. I mean, come on.
Here's the thing with the person shitting on fucking letting them shit. She allowed it. She allowed them to shit on her fucking head. So why hate Vince for it? Why hate just Vince? Why hate just John Laurinaitis? What about the fucking woman that let them shit on her fucking head? She allowed it. Anybody that wants to sit here and fucking argue with me about it, go ahead. She allowed it.
If it even really happened.
And then she got paid for it.
Mm-hmm. So,
and then when she stopped getting payments, she's like, "Oh, they raped me. They sexually abused me. Get the fuck out of here."
You were living outside of your means when you very easily could have sold that fucking apartment and moved somewhere else with that money.
Like I said, I'm going to say it again. Vince did not do anything when it comes to wrestling. I'm going to go back to wrestling. Vince would not let a wrestler do something that he wouldn't do. One time he did not go down that whatever you want to call it, zip line. Something happened. It happens. It's a part of fucking life. Shit fucking happens.
So what I'm saying, I'm just saying is my point here is like people like saying stop shitting on Vince. My point is that the reasons that people usually shit on Vince the most, aside from creative, are the big controversies that he's surrounded, the ones that they tackle in the documentary.
It's more of public opinion, and it's going to be there.
Right.
Shitting on him, they just assume that he did it.
Well, I mean, so again, just if you think by default, right? What are the big ones that they talk about, right? Vince covered up the Ring Boy scandal. Okay, he could be protecting Pat Patterson, who was like his number 2 guy in the company. Jimmy Snuka protecting a top talent as he's about to grow into expansion. I'm trying to think of the other big ones. Spend a lot less time on the Montreal Screw. Actually, more time on the Montreal Screw job than I thought. That's not really.
So the Jimmy Snuka thing.
Mm-hmm.
People crapped on Vince for that too. Like, oh, he was a part of it. Assumption does nothing but make an ass out of you and me. That's what assuming does. We assume that because Vince owned the WWF and Jimmy Snuka was part of the WWF, Vince was at fault. He was part of what happened.
Correct. So that's
not fair to Vince.
I'm not saying it's fair at all. No, we're not talking about being fair whatsoever. I'm just saying is that I can see why people would instantly jump on the bandwagon of going after him for X reason or another.
It's an easy thing to do.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they do it.
Right.
They are the lambs that follow the flock of court of public opinion.
Because if they don't agree with it, they're going to be, oh my God, you're a bad person. You're just like he is. It's just like people who like Trump. People who like Trump are fucking bad people.
They're all racist and they're all rednecks and they all just want to kill America.
Excuse me.
It's just so dumb. It's ignorant.
It's ignorant. Ignorant. Oh my God, being ignorant.
Everybody believes what they say. I listen, Jim Cornette, Brian Last, I listen to them. And Brian Last is a fucking dumb shit. Brian Last is an idiot. He's only there to listen to Jim talk. Brian, if it was just Brian Last asking Jim questions, and Brian Last thinks he knows everything there is to know about wrestling because he paid attention to wrestling history, right? That's great. That's all fine, great, and dandy, but he doesn't know shit. I don't know everything about wrestling. I paid attention to wrestling history, but I'm not going to sit there and dive into this whole... He assumes that Vince is a horrible person. Vince may be a bad guy, but how do you know? We don't know enough about him. And he's been in the public light for 50 years.
Yeah, and to the other point of that too, just to really hammer this one home as well, is that he really does, like, at random times during the interviews, is like, nope, I'm only going to tell you as much as I want to. Like, and he's even admitted things in the nature of, oh, I don't think it's fair if people criticize me for this, but I'm going to make sure I definitely go after so-and-so because if they say something bad about me and, et cetera and so forth.
Well, that's his defensive nature, and he learned that from being 12 years old, getting beaten by his stepdad.
I was about to say, yep, it just hammers that point home again. I definitely recommend it. If you guys haven't seen it, it's good shit. It's good shit. To Casey's point earlier, I wouldn't say you're learning anything particularly new, especially industry side.
I will say this. What I did learn is what Vince validates. Vince will validate things in this. He validated a couple of things that... there's a couple of things that he did say that, everybody is like... But he validates it. He's not going to lie to you. What reason does Vince have to lie to you?
Well, he wants to protect it. Remember, he's a big control power guy, and he wants to be able to control. I'm all over the place.
So
there are some people who in the course of the show really have some prophetic words and really just like phrases where it's like, oh, that was an interesting, like I think I mentioned earlier with Shane, where it's like he gets the rap that he wants to put out there, and it really kind of makes you like have a better understanding of like, okay, he's a lot more of a complicated and complex individual than we may ever be able to understand. And so whether or not it's a shoot or not is still up for debate based off of some of Vince's words himself. But what I will say is that if you're looking for a shoot interview or words straight from the horse's mouth, this is as good as it's going to get for you. In terms, like you're not going to. I highly doubt you're going to get anything else. However, no joke. Right before we came on here, I just saw a quick little snippet that said there's rumors that Vince is trying to recruit Kevin Dunn to do a response piece to the docuseries.
And he did put that tweet out. You edit it so much, you put me in extremely poor light.
I don't think they did. I really don't think they did, to be honest. I don't think they made him look great, but they don't make him, I don't think, look like any. My opinion of him did not change from seeing this. It was still the same of like, yeah, brilliant businessman, but human being.
I wouldn't say he's a horrible human being. I would say that he is
slightly on the immoral side.
Oh, look, I mean, who isn't? Anybody that thinks they're fucking not immoral? Give me a fucking break.
I'm
looking forward to watching the last 4 episodes.
So I was reading the chat real quick. Yeah.
The first 2 are really good. They went into the steroid trial.
Yep.
Well, if Vince would have, they were working to, and Bruce Pritchard did say this in his
interview.
Well, his something to wrestle with. He talked about Vince was, just in case he went to jail, he was setting it up to have Linda run it and have Bruce
and Jerry.
Yep. Well,
they don't say yeah.
He did say that he brought him in, and that guy knew not a goddamn thing about fucking wrestling.
Well,
that's all I'm gonna say.
Wait, honestly,
and Bruce Pritchard. Let me tell you something about Bruce Pritchard. For people shit on him too, which I don't understand it. He was a really good booker. He is not a bad booker.
So I think Bruce. I think he's a tough one too, where it's like, again, he's very good. He's very, very good at what he does. I think the only thing with him is that he, of course, has the label of, with all due respect, being Vince's bitch.
Yes.
Correct. But here's the thing with the Janelle Grant thing, which is gonna come out. That comes out. He didn't know about it. He just and there's a lot of this that I heard, and Bret Hart did say this in this. He goes, people just turned a blind eye to it.
Right.
Like, I don't want to be a part of this, so I'm just not even going to pay attention to it. Vince is going to do what he's going to fucking do. If he wants to have a woman's shit, if he wants to take a shit on a woman's head, he's going to take a shit on a woman's head. She allowed it. Not my chair, not my problem. That's all I'm going to say. Come on now.
Sorry.
He doesn't need to go to jail for the fucking mustache. But now you're just being a hater, Casey. Come on.
I mean, that thing looked fucking terrible. But no, you know, it looked like a piece of like fucking confetti tape just like stuck on his lip that just wouldn't. Hey, Vince, you had a little something on here. Just a little something on here. Like, why would you stop? Why would you stop shaving at that part of? Oh my god! The more I think about it, just more pisses me off. Anyway, the other big thing that took me away from this is, man, I gained a massive level of respect for Shane and Stephanie after this. Like I already had a lot of I liked Shane just because he was nuts. And
there is one thing that I do want to say, because I was reading some things on it.
mm-hmm.
He was mad at his dad because he didn't buy the UFC. If Vince would have bought the UFC,
well,
he wouldn't have known what to do with it.
No. And it would have put him under, because every one of them in the UFC needed a contract or a license to fight.
That's a tough pill to swallow, because like hindsight's 2020, right? So it's
unless he bought it and left Dana White in charge of it.
Hey, I wish I went back in time and bought, stock in Google or whatever at this point in time, or if I, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like hindsight's 2020, so it's hard to really say like, oh, we could have.
Look at it this way. I don't know what he's bitching about.
No. I think it was just. I think what it was an example of. They were trying to hammer home the point of like, Shane and Vince had some, and they actually address why Shane left the company in, I think it was 07 or 08. And they don't come right out and say it flat out, but it's basically alluding to the fact that I think that like Shane wanted to take over and he was ready to take over, and it didn't look like that Vince was surrendering power anytime soon, and that it got so hostile that it's either like, all right, I can stay here and hope and just like the relationship's going to deteriorate because I'm going to keep pushing this, or I can remove myself from the situation and kind of let cooler heads prevail. And Shane was smart enough to do that.
I don't think Shane would have been a good decision. I think Stephanie would, was the better decision.
And she was the one who got John Cena to reveal the Dr. Thuganomics gimmick.
So Shane was not. I think Shane was looking more at it like a business aspect of it.
Yes.
Stephanie got everything. I think Stephanie, along with Paul, Triple H, I think where WWE is going to go is where it should go.
Yeah.
But I think the right person, Shane would have taken it, would have been.
It would have been WCW mixed with
ECW. Probably would have tried to fucking buy UFC, and I guarantee it, WWE would be in trouble today.
Shane has like, yeah, I feel like he needs the filter. He needs the filter. You need to, you know what I mean? Where he's almost like that in the Vince Russo ends of like, there's some gems in there. There's some great ideas. We just gotta like fine tune it a little bit. But there's actually a story. What I was saying was, out of the interviewers, Tony Atlas is a favorite. Paul Heyman actually has some very great insight. And I'm biased obviously because I love Heyman, but he has some great insight. And he even said there was one time. He goes, there's one time that he goes, the most hostile time I ever saw was when Shane and Vince were arguing over something with creative. And he goes, I can't remember what it was specifically, but Shane obviously was like sticking to his guns, and Vince was just absolutely disagreed on every level. And he goes, when it comes to Vince, when things start to escalate, they escalate, and then they escalate extremely quickly. And it got to the point where we were eating dinner, and Vince says, finally, it got to the point where Vince is like, as long as I'm alive, that's not happening. And then he literally, at one point, they were eating something, and Vince takes the dinner knife, hands it to Shane, goes, take that, and he points, and he pulls open his jacket, and he points to his heart. He's like, put that right there. He goes, because that's what you're gonna have to do to me, in order to get that idea approved. And he goes, and if you don't do that. And if you're not man enough to do that, and then I know you're not man enough to stay behind your idea, and I have to take that into consideration. And just this like other like slew of stuff of like, be prepared, or buy me out like I did with my dad, or you'll have to do what I had to do to, or something like that. This like crazy like ass backwards like weird ass threat, and it was just like, where the fuck did that come from?
From his dad.
Yeah.
His dad pretty much said the same thing to him in a much softer tone. Vince, again, it goes back to the abuse that he went through.
Vince, you think Vince Senior said that to him?
Control of every situation.
You think Vince Senior said that to him?
No.
No, Vince Senior did tell him, "You need to buy me out."
Yeah. But not this extreme like stab me in the heart shit.
So
that's from the abuse.
That's Vince saying, you know, again, it stems from the abuse in his mental capacity to say the only way you're going to take this away from me is if you pry it from my cold dead hands. Is essentially what he's saying to him.
Right.
And he's saying the only way you're going to get your idea approved. I don't know what that idea was.
Yeah, I don't know either, but like,
do they elaborate on that?
No, it was driving home again. Like I said, it's stuff like that where like they kind of let you fill in the gaps of, they're not gonna tell you outright this is the reason why it happened, but like you can clearly put two and two together.
Yeah.
They kind of do the same thing with some of the controversies where they don't like outright paint Vince as like the absolute worst human being, but they present the evidence relatively neutrally. Obviously, you can't control what each individual person says.
Of course.
To the point of like, you kind of like, okay, now it's up to you to kind of like, how do you feel about it?
I will liken this to the music reference because Alpha just said it. Does everybody remember when Metallica cut their hair?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked.
Everybody would, they're fucking sellouts.
Yeah.
Metallica is the Vince McMahon of the heavy metal world. They get shit on because they cut their hair. Their music has not changed.
Nope.
And if they did not change their style of music, heavy metal would probably be dead today.
Yes. If you look at the bands that are around now, you ask them, and every one of them says one of their inspirations was Metallica.
Yep.
Metallica is, you see Metallica in all the music that happens today, you see a lot of Metallica in a lot of fucking music today. And I'm even talking country. You see it. But Vince, I'm telling you, Vince, I applaud him. I'm not going to say he's the greatest person in the world, but I'm not going to say one bad thing about this man until things come out that it's true. I'm not going to say, hey, I am not the judge, jury, and executioner. I am a fan of what he put out. If it comes out that he did these things, sure, go to jail, but I'm still not going to... For me, Chris Benoit deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't give a fuck what anybody fucking says. You can fucking hate me. You can fucking ridicule me. You can say, God, that's a horrible thing to say. I'm not looking at what he did. I'm not looking at what he did outside of the wrestling business. I'm looking at what he did inside of it. That's what a Hall of Fame is. Anybody that is not, like, I'm upset that Mark McGuire is not in the Hall of Fame. Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds. How can you not put him in? How can you not? I don't give a fuck if they did steroids. I do not care. If it wasn't for them, baseball probably would be dead. Without Vince, wrestling does not exist anymore. In the capacity that it does.
Yeah.
In the capacity that it does today.
Right, but that also doesn't necessarily excuse some of these behaviors, though.
I'm not excusing his behaviors if they're
He's
true.
just not passing judgment until it is proven true.
Which is more than fair, obviously.
Does not, just because he is convicted of things does not mean he still doesn't deserve to go in the Hall of Fame. I don't care.
I mean,
it's what he did inside of the wrestling business, not
outside
in his personal life. I disagree with it. You
can
sit here and say, I disagree with it.
No, I just know it's never gonna happen because
I don't think anything's gonna come of it.
No. God, no. That ship has long sailed. Let's see here. Vince was a day away to tie in Janelle Grant to the train tracks. Yeah, no kidding.
To a fucking fucking train track. She's a fucking liar.
Choo choo.
She's just out to get money.
That was a great investment getting that button. No, I said I thought it was a very well done documentary. They interviewed pretty much everybody you could think of. Hogan, Brett, Bischoff, Austin Rock, DX, Taker, all the McMahons. Linda looks better than she did last time I saw her on TV.
There is one other thing that I did want to talk about, and that's the Jesse Ventura thing, the union thing.
Yep.
And I applaud Hogan for doing what he did, because look, wrestlers have guaranteed contracts now.
Now
they don't need fucking health insurance. They can get their own.
Yeah, they would buy their own health insurance.
Come on, man. These guys, they need health insurance. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
Wow. Okay.
No. What I'm saying is
that's a bold statement.
So, like Bruce Pritchard, Triple H, they get health insurance because they are employees of the company. They're independent so they're independent contractors. I understand if they became, and this is how, essentially, like Roman Reigns is his own businessman.
Yes.
So
that's
he can
same
pay for his own health insurance.
And that's the same advice Triple H gave to Batista. You are your business.
So why would it be a problem?
Wrestling would probably would have died right there too.
Why would it be bad if wrestlers were given the option to get health insurance from the company?
To unionize? Unions are a bad thing.
They are. The only unions out there that are any good are the metal worker and the meat worker unions, because they actually do fight a little harder for the people they're representing. Otherwise, all the other fucking unions, those lawyers are fighting for the company. They're not fighting for the workers.
Look at the NFL Players Association.
That fucking joke of a union.
Well, it's not a joke of a union. You want to talk about their players?
Okay, so
are now making, like, quarterbacks are making $60 million a year.
So I'm cool. Okay, I'm fine with the idea of no union.
They're not making $60 million a year based on performance. They're making $60 million a year based on
ad revenue,
a market for a starting quarterback.
And I can already guess the question you're going for here with the health insurance. Easy way to figure out how that would be bad is look at the cost of your own health insurance through the company you work for. You still have to pay for half of it through your paycheck. And then on top of that, you have to meet a copiously high fucking deductible.
So think about this. They have to get health insurance. If they were to unionize, Vince would have to pay for their health insurance. So there's a health insurance.
You'd have to pay a portion of it, yes.
He would pay.
They would
so
need to cover the
Roman
rest.
Reigns gets health insurance. Roman Reigns has to pay into his health insurance, while Vince also has to pay into his health insurance. So every single one of their wrestlers has to be paid on their health insurance. And they ain't getting the cheap health insurance either.
Because with what they are, they're considered liable for all of their injuries. Yes. And therefore, it makes them...
It's just too much fucking money. Too much.
I mean, some of these injuries that they get, that would meet a family of three's deductible alone.
So I get not unionizing. That's fine. But I just meant, like, in terms of getting health insurance straight from the company, that would still be a bad thing?
Yeah. They would,
because then they would be bitching. I'm not getting as much money as I used to, because you wanted the health insurance.
So that's a problem. But they wouldn't get the cheap health insurance. Well, you're gonna have to pay a premium of this much.
Well, at least give them an option.
No.
I'm not saying make it mandatory, just saying giving them an option if they wish to do so.
And if they did it, then Vince would have to pay in on that double. Is my point. That's my point.
I guess it really doesn't matter. It's 6 half-dozen one or the other, really.
Yeah, and also at the end of the day, Vince does already cover a lot of their injuries and rehab.
Yeah.
He pays for their fucking surgeries.
So in a way, they have health insurance. The WWE.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And that fucking pays more than insurance will pay.
Yeah, that's a good point. But no, it's damn good documentary. I can't think of where he got off track for that part of the conversation, but you know,
the Jesse Ventura thing. That's why he wanted to unionize.
Oh,
and
yeah.
health insurance for the wrestlers, which would have cost. That wouldn't have worked. WWE would have gone under. There's no way they would have been able to continue.
To be honest, I'm surprised. Vince was able to get the upper hand on Jesse. To be honest with you on that one.
Well, he fired him.
No, I know. What I'm saying is like he's like, oh, anybody who goes to the meeting is fired. That was a big gamble. A lot of people could, you know what I mean? A lot of people could have.
Well, it's also other wrestlers that were in the locker room that were hearing it were also sitting there going, we don't want that, because first they'll say they're out for us, and then they'll undercut us any chance they get.
Yeah, that's the way unions work.
And that was from Bret Hart.
Bret Hart, so.
That's the only smart thing he fucking said in that documentary. Because it's like, dude, you left because of this shit. But yet when Vince was still there and how much you fucking hated Vince, you still fucking came back.
Well, I think he finally let bygones be bygones.
That's what he said in the ring.
Well, I think he really did. Well, then he come out and said, with this whole Janelle Grant thing, he's back on the fucking I hate fucking Vince wagon again.
I take Brett's opinions generally speaking with a grain of salt. But
cries about fucking everything.
But you know what though? I will say this, like he's one of those types of individuals who I would fight for his, like, he has earned the right to speak his mind about the product given what he has done for the industry and whatnot. Like he was, you know, relatively squeaky clean as far as like Montreal Screwjob, right? Right. So like, and given how serious he took the role and his champion stuff like that, like he's one of those individuals where I'm like, yeah, I may not agree with Brett and I take it with a grain of salt and I disagree with him, but god damn it, like he has earned every right to speak every single moment of what his opinion about the product.
So my issue with Brett is he wasn't a great talker, but he thought he was a great talker. He was a good in-ring performer, but he was boring as fuck.
A lot of rest holds with his matches.
Every match that he was in, it didn't matter what he was in. It had to be 30 minutes, or it seemed like it was 30 minutes. Every match he was in was long, drawn out, boring. I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, another fucking, what do you call that? Headlock. This guy, his best wrestling match was with his brother at WrestleMania 10.
And that's because his brother carried that match.
Well, they both did, but
I felt Owen carried it better than
yes. Owen was a better in-ring performer than Brett, in my opinion.
I always liked Owen more than Brett.
Yeah, same.
Owen was a better character than Brett.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But
Vince deserves his flowers. I think he does.
Yeah.
I believe that he deserves his flowers.
Hard to.
I don't. Go ahead.
I was just saying it's hard to. It's gonna be harder to separate him from WWE than it was Benoit.
Yeah.
You can't.
Exactly.
You literally can't. He was in everything. From the first WrestleMania all the way through to now.
If you take Vince out of wrestling,
You have no wrestling.
You have no wrestling.
So I
You have
remember.
you have no historical videos to show.
Because Vince could very easily say, take me out of everything that's ever been in wrestling, and it'd be like, oh, well, I guess we just can't show anything on wrestling anymore. If you do that, you may as well do that. You can take Chris Benoit out of certain things, but if you take Vince away and just take him out of it, why does wrestling even exist anymore? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it was somewhat clear to me that, okay, this is essentially Netflix introducing its audience to, hey, WWE's coming here. Want a brief like synopsis of?
People have never heard of it before as well.
Yep.
It's to introduce them.
Yep. It's a segue for it's setting the stage for Raw to come on in and like, new era, here we go, we're off to the races. And it just happened to coincide with Vince wanting to do a documentary about himself, and also a kind of relatively like neutral way of just kind of like letting Vince just like fade away. Like they didn't like. It'll make more sense when you guys finish it up. But hey, I still think it was very, very well done. Again, like to the point, not new information, but interesting.
Well, it's not new information, but he validates things.
Well, I was gonna say the only real new information is kind of confirming, validation or confirming things, or just hearing from Vince's perspective on things.
Yeah.
So. All right. That was the Vince documentary. I know we had a couple of other things happening. Somebody showed up on NXT.
Oh, I mean, so Julia.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you know who Julia is.
Child. Hello.
She is probably, she's Japanese Italian, and she was with Stardom.
Yep.
She's considered probably the best wrestler in the world.
I heard about her like a year ago.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Damn it.
She's really good. I am looking forward to Asuka and her having a match.
There's a lot of female competition for the land of the rising sun.
There is very good wrestling over there, and I know a lot of it is, you see, like Hikaru Shida. I think she should have been in WWE a long time ago. Why nobody's seen her? A lot of like the ones that are on AEW, you can keep them.
Oh,
I think Hikaru Shida needs to leave and go to WWE. But Julia, Tony Khan really bent over backwards to try to get her to come there.
He's gonna love my cooking.
Fucking Kenny Omega wanted her there, and they lost out. This is the thing.
Yes.
AEW is missing out on huge stars.
They are.
Right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, they are stuck with a guy that Jim Cornette calls Plumber Moxley. Because he does. He looks like a fucking plumber. Marina Shafir is his muscle. Right now.
What is
on the
he
show.
on?
I'm not shitting you.
That's what she looks like now? Jesus Christ.
Oh, she looks like a badass.
She jacked herself way the fuck up compared to when she was on WWE.
She looks like a star. I will give Tony Khan a little credit, but I'm not gonna give Tony Khan any credit. I'm gonna give Marina Shafir some credit for making herself look like a star, because she looks badass. But they have her with Jon Moxley as her bouncer.
As his bouncer.
As his bouncer. That is his bouncer. Is a 120-pound woman who beats up 260-pound men. And is unbelievable. It is so unbelievable that I have to.
Oh. Sorry, another side note real quick that just popped in my head. But
But Stephanie Vachour,
Yep.
who showed up on
NXT
AEW
or AEW.
and wrestled.
Oh yeah.
Yes, she did. She wrestled Mercedes Moné in
Everyone's favorite.
the NJPW Strong title to her. And then, like, the next day, she signed with WWE.
See ya.
Basically.
Two people.
Two
In two of
women.
the bigger markets
Yep.
for wrestling, Japan and Mexico have the two biggest stars of their region in WWE.
Sounds like money.
On top of that, they're two women.
But it was really good. So Roxanne Perez is going to face Julia at
Stand and Deliver.
No, it's going to happen Tuesday on CW.
Oh yeah, they've been promoting those ones heavy.
They said, and it was really good the way that they did it. The crowd loved it, and I think the crowd that you're seeing at NXT is the crowd that you would see at AEW shows as well. So they know wrestling.
Yeah.
They're wrestling fans. They are Stephanie Vachour. She didn't debut in the
person.
arena. She debuted on the Titantron and said, well, the question was, who can beat you, Julia? And then Stephanie Vachour showed up, who beat her in New Japan. So there's that. They're telling
a
history.
Preloaded feud right there.
So they're connecting things.
Mm-hmm.
They're acknowledging New Japan.
Yep.
Like they acknowledge the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, who I can't remember who it was. It might have even been Julia or Stephanie Vachour. I don't know, one of them too. But they're telling that story, and it's pretty good. They're connecting the dots,
right?
And people are getting interested.
Mm-hmm.
NXT is pretty good right now. It's almost as good as Raw.
I've seen some clips from NXT, and it's some good stuff, especially the tag team division. By the way, speaking of tag teams, real fast, another little AEW note on the side here. So apparently there was heavy rumor speculation that it was a done deal. Ray Phoenix and Penta were going to jump ship to WWE once their contracts expired at the end of the summer. However, it looked like that night may not be happening. Tony Khan apparently tacked on injury time.
Yes, he did.
Yep. So for those of you who don't know what we're referring to, it is a situation where and WWE's done this too. TNA has done this. Like this is
every company.
Yeah. So it's not, and this is not the most egregious thing. But
it's shitty, but it's not the worst.
Yeah. So basically, the concept is that the argument is that if someone is out with an injury, the company can exercise a clause to extend the contract for the length of the time missed to basically make up for the time missed. So, for example, Ray Phoenix was tacked on for like another year,
and he was out for a year with his shoulder.
Yeah, so it was like 6 months here, three. So,
no, go ahead, finish.
Yeah. Anyway, the bottom line is that you'd be if they were out for 3 months, the contract's up in November. Well, guess what? We're putting in that 3 months. We want that 3 months back. So your contract's actually going to expire in January.
And that only came out when they found out
that they were signing with WWE.
Right.
Like I said, it's shitty, but it's not the worst you could do.
Now, I'm going to say this. All the fucking people that defend or shit on the WWE for doing the same thing are these people are now defending what Tony Khan is doing.
Mm-hmm.
This is the problem with
the double standard.
There's a double standard saying, well, Vince did it. Yeah. But again,
You were pissed off when
you're
Vince did
pissed
it.
off about it, but now it's okay. You're gonna defend it. These people are why they think Tony Khan's doing it for the betterment of his business. He's not. He's being petty because he knows that WWE will make stars out of Penta and Ray Phoenix. It's happening, and they just assume that, oh, he's just doing it because Vince did it and it's better for Tony Khan. But in all reality, it's not. Are you there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because we
lost the feed for a little second.
No, we can't hear.
That's how I feel about it. I think it's being petty, and it's them knowing.
Oh, 1,000%.
Go look at who has left AEW and gone to WWE.
Yep,
Ethan Page looks like a fucking star.
Yep, I think Ricky Starks is right behind. Right, I think he's heading over there.
Rumors circulating that he might, but he may resign as well.
Okay, Sean Spears.
They have Sean Spears.
Yep.
I mean, right now, what they're doing with him, I kind of like.
Mm-hmm.
They probably should have done the same thing with him in AEW, but WWE's doing what AEW should have done with him.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it's what they should have done with him as soon as this 10 gimmick started wearing off.
Oh, the 10 gimmick hit's coming back. I
but it's gonna come back in a better way than what it was.
There is just Sean Spears. Ethan Page is the NXT champion. He looks like a star. He's being good. Treated like a star.
Yep.
I'm not saying, and he's a younger version of Bobby Roode.
He is.
Yeah, he
that is huge.
It's like EC3 and in his Conceited era, and Bobby Roode had a baby.
But better.
Yes, he's really good. Ethan Carter, EC3, he's the NWA World Heavyweight Champion now. But
I know you're all clamoring for that.
I don't mind him.
The comments about what he looks like are fucking great.
What's that? I don't know what you're talking about.
I've seen comments after he won, and it's like, dude looks like a fucking bulldog.
Oh,
he is. When he was with WWE, Triple H made him look like a star.
Yes.
Yep.
And then they put him on the main roster, and Vince just
destroyed him.
The where I will fault Vince is he got outdated.
He did.
He tried mixing the 80s with today, and it don't work.
Well, Triple H is doing something similar. He's just doing it in a more modern way than what Vince was trying to do.
He's doing it in a gritty way, though.
Yes.
So Triple H, I can see it now. Raw and SmackDown, we're gonna have that gritty. They're still gonna look the same.
It's gonna have that hard feeling of.
But it's gonna be that. No. It's gonna look like NXT. You know how they made it look gritty?
Yes.
How NXT, I think that's where they're gonna go with Raw and SmackDown.
I hope so.
NXT's never gonna get back there. I think NXT is where it needs to be.
These are the next.
They're back to the next generation of stars.
So if you are you talking about just the way the shows are going to be presented?
Yes.
Yeah. So SmackDown's going to be the clean, safe choice, right? Sports theme, sports vibe. NXT is going to be, pop, flashy, new gen. It's the new generation. Whoa. Yeah.
The teenagers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is where I see AJ Styles going.
Raw is going to be, I think, almost like what Raw's War was, or the War Zone. It's going to be raw and gritty.
More gritty.
Yeah. I agree. So I think that's how that way.
Netflix where they can do whatever they want, and as they proved in the documentary, they have no problem.
Dropping the F-bomb.
Yeah, it's weird seeing
It's gonna be the Attitude Era adjusted to 1 million.
I don't think they'll go back to that.
I'm not talking about the sex. I'm talking about the language.
Oh, the language, you're gonna hear the shits and all that shit. You'll hear all that.
Yeah. I hope it's not too frequent. Like, save it for moments where it's needed. Don't.
Well, when you have an intense rivalry, it absolutely needs to happen.
And not to mention, if you have Randy Orton in the ring, he's just he's got Tourette's now. People, come on.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, and then the only other thing I have here was the gentleman that passed away. What's up, Jurgen?
Yeah.
You know it's
pretty good actor.
You know it's funny. I was kind of kicking myself because literally,
you had no idea who it was at first.
No. I knew who it was as soon as I saw the name because 3 weeks ago, I was doing research for a video essay I'm doing, and I wanted to reference the Blade movie.
And Abraham.
And yep, and I'm like, God damn it! Oh no, was it Abraham or was it Whistler?
Whistler, that's it.
Yeah.
Well, it was Abraham Whistler, I think, was his full
Oh,
name.
you know what? I think you're right. I was gonna say Abraham being his first name. Yeah, that's yes. And that's why I recognize the name, like, son of a bitch, because I'm like, because there's rumors that they want to bring on Wesley Snipes as Blade, and I said, oh, it would be cool if they could get like one more scene, yeah, like one more scene just to do it as Whistler, just to wrap it up, but no.
But we also have to remember, wasn't Whistler killed in the third one?
Shit, was he?
I don't remember now.
I don't
watched all three of the Blades.
What?
Whistler. Did he die in the third one?
Who's Whistler?
The character Chris Christopherson played in Blade.
I don't think he died in the first one. Shit, did he die? Hold on.
I don't fucking know.
No, he didn't die in the first one.
He really wasn't part of it because it was the blind girl who played the best friend to Allison in American Pie.
You're right, Heather. He died in Blade Trinity. Fuck.
There we go.
Yeah, flashback scene. I was hoping for one more with him is the point, but
yeah, absolutely. I mean, they could still do it with CGI. You never know.
Well, no, it's easy enough. You just have the TVA kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. Chris Christopherson, he's really good at the country western.
Yeah.
Movies or shows. He's a country western singer.
He was. He was in the movie Caravan.
Yeah, I don't know too much about him, but I just know he was a good actor.
Yeah, I didn't really know too. Oh, and I don't know if we talked about this before, but Professor McGonagall.
Yes, Maggie Smith.
Oh, that one sucked.
I mean, so y'all know how I feel about when somebody dies. Yes, it's sad to see him go, but I got to see.
It's like my friend Tracy and I, we were talking the other day, and I said to her, we're gonna lose most of our childhood before we're 45 at this rate.
No shit.
Man, come on. Most of my childhood, James Earl Jones died.
That wasn't until this year, though.
I know. I'm just saying, James Earl Jones died. When he died, my childhood died. That man, greatest villain voice of all time.
Oh, he was also the father in Lion King.
This is CNN.
And Coming to America.
Yes.
This is CNN. No, it just yeah, it was just one of those like, man, right in the childhood moments where it's a beloved character that you like.
The first movie I ever saw her in was Hook, and now those both are dead. It's like, Jesus Christ.
The very first movie I seen her in was Clash of the Titans.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, she had.
Oh,
but
crap.
I saw Hook first, and then I saw Clash of the Titans.
Yeah, she was Aphrodite, I think.
Yes.
But
No, she was Hera.
Okay. Whatever. But anyway, she was in Clash of the Titans. That's where I seen her first.
Passed away at 89, so.
I love that fucking movie. Clash of the Titans, the original.
Yeah, the original one. Yep. That's a cult classic and another guilty pleasure of mine.
Good stuff. She was 89, so hell of a run.
Yeah.
Oh, and I found out that
She beat breast cancer while filming Harry Potter
She
too.
did.
So
and she is actually one of the very few human beings to win the triple crown of awards in performance art, meaning that she has won an Oscar, an Emmy, and a Tony,
yes,
which is like, whoa, that's kind of crazy.
she was that talented, man.
Yep.
Better than Tom Cruise.
Fuck yeah.
No shit.
Fucking. Oh my god, what was his name?
So another guy. This is funny because
What the
I'm
hell?
sitting there. I'm sitting there the other day, and the Gladiators 2
Promo video.
promo video came on
Yeah.
today.
Yep.
Guess who's in it?
Denzel Washington.
Pedro Pascal.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember.
Fucker is in fucking every Mount Basement.
Dude.
Motherfuckers in everything.
Dude, I'm not complaining.
I am.
I'm not at the level of complaining yet. I'm not
I-
I'm not there yet. I'm cool.
Getting there.
Let him
'Cause he's into everything.
Because he does
Fuck it.
good jobs
Yeah.
at everything he's in.
He's also in those. What is it? The Modelo commercial or the Corona?
The Coronas.
The Corona commercials.
I think
I
that
mean, he's pretty good in them, but it's like, good God, man.
I think that's where I was like, man, he is in fucking everything. But listen, fuck it. Like if he hasn't gotten to the level of to me where it lets like, all right, dude, like take a
he
break.
hasn't gotten.
It hasn't gotten to the Tom Cruise
He
level.
hasn't gotten to Tom
No.
Cruise yet.
No.
Well, just wait, it'll happen.
I mean, if he keeps going, there's a very strong likelihood it could. But I'm good with
And
just.
he literally will be in everything because he'll be on every talk show. He'll be on every news station.
He
He'll
already
be
is.
in every.
He already is.
No, he's not.
It feels like it.
It's-
How much you want to bet Pedro Pascal is going to be on fucking late night here
Oh yeah, of course.
in a couple of weeks?
I'm
Because
glad-
his Gladiator 2
Gla-
debut.
Gladiator 2 does not look half bad.
I love the director's response to one of the interview questions too, where did you call Russell Crowe and speak to him about this project? And the director's like, well, we thought about giving him a call, but then we remembered his character's dead.
I mean, you could do a callback quick to it. I don't mind it, but that doesn't mean he needs to be in it.
Hey, Russell Crowe is just an actor in the movie. He had no financial backing.
Right.
Well, Russell Crowe was the reason why that movie was really good.
Are you not entertained?
I'm just saying he was.
Well, Russell Crowe is another very talented actor.
True that.
Yeah, I know, but yeah.
And generations of that are going to start wiping away soon too.
I know. Ugh.
It's part of life.
Hard to believe we have to still sometimes explain to kids. No. It was called a video home system or
Yeah.
VHS.
Yes.
You will learn the infamous immortal words of my generation. Be kind. Please rewind. Oh man. Yeah, other than that, it's a relatively slow news week. I don't think there's anything else to go over.
I really haven't had time to look either.
Yeah, samesies.
And, I mean, the only other thing is the what happened with the was it Friday or Thursday? I was watching the news.
Close.
What happened with the fucking Trump thing? God damn it! You know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
Oh, the fucking border. Fucking all the fucking criminals that
Oh, yeah.
they have fucking released into the fucking wild.
What?
You didn't hear about this?
No.
Holy shit. Of the 422,000 people that are, criminals,
Uh-huh.
a lot of them, 15,000 of them were murderers and 13,000 of them were rapists that are running free in the United States. According to, and this is not just made up bullshit, this was a report sent out by ICE, the ICE director, saying this is what,
These are the numbers we have.
these are the numbers that we have. These are the people that we have had to let go and just because of the administration's thoughts on fucking immigration. So there's that. So you got 15,000 murderers and 13,000 rapists running around in your country that aren't even fucking citizens of this country.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
All right, time to move to the Netherlands. Let's go.
No, because the Netherlands is as
They're
bad.
worse. They are worse over there than they are here.
Fine, let's find an island. Epstein,
No.
I think Epstein's got a few laying around.
He has one, but you don't know what you're gonna find there.
Yeah. No kidding.
I mean, it's sad, but it's like, and this came out right on the heels of fucking Kamala going to the fucking border.
Which, get this, she only spent 20 minutes there, and she only spoke to the managers. She never spoke to any of the officers.
It's her just getting a photo op.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yep.
It is what it is. It's coming down to you vote.
Who's less of a piece of
Who's
shit
less of a
at this
piece of
point?
shit?
Let's have two
And the
evils.
sad thing is, in this fucking case, it's Donald Trump.
And everyone, actually, I saw this from like I think it was Bo Burnham. He was like, I know everyone's like, okay, Donald Trump, like, yeah, like, no, but his policies, like, no, but it's Donald Trump. No, but like he has these like, yeah, oh, no, I agree with these policies. Yeah, that makes sense too, and I get where he's coming from in that one. But like, can we just read? It's Donald Trump.
So the problem is, and I've said this numerous fucking times. The people that are gonna vote for Kamala Harris
Are the ones
are the
suffering
ones that
deeply.
they just hate Trump. They're not
CDS.
voting. They're not voting because they think Kamala Harris will make a great president. They just don't want Donald Trump to be president.
Yeah, I think
That's all it is.
I think he also came out and said that this is his last go around. Like if he loses, he's done trying.
Well, he's 80.
He's 80, and
Jesus.
and even if he wins, he's only got 4 years.
He's gonna. I don't know why. Here's the funny thing. He only gets one more term. He's essentially going to be a lame duck president.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to fix the mistakes.
Trying to fix them. This guy doesn't have to do this, but yet he's choosing to do it. So why is he a bad why is he a bad person? I don't understand. He just wants to fix what he thinks is wrong with the country. That is all. And yes, the way he says things does not come off as great.
Yep.
But I wholeheartedly think he really wants to make this country safe for all citizens. I don't think he wants to be a dictator. I don't know where people get this idea. If he was gonna do what everybody said he was gonna do, he would have done it in his first 4 years.
Exactly.
He would have fucking done it if he would have lost the election. He would have had Biden killed, and that would have been the end of it.
Jesus.
And then he would have said, I'm overthrowing the government. He would have done that already. People just need to shut the fuck up and let things happen. The country is not going to be any worse off than what it is. It might actually get a little better.
This world
Fucking hell.
is on fire. On that note, I think we've checked all the boxes this evening.
I don't have too much else.
Yeah, we haven't
There's
really
not much
slow
going on.
slow news week. Unless Heather, anything else you want to throw in there? Or?
No.
Yeah, I think we got everything pretty much well covered. So appreciate you popping in. Sorry I was a little late this evening. Appreciate everybody. Casey, Alpha, Jurg, and Muyin joining us in the Chizat.
Hey.
Next week, Wednesday, we'll be back with I believe the next round of the campaign for D&D, which is
I will not be there for it. I have to work the next day.
no, I got you. And then check out HGGM mode. It's back, baby. So check out last week's and all that good stuff. Subscribe, like, share, comment, all that fun jazz. And wow, I just said that. All right. And on that note, peace out, y'all.
Bye, everybody.
I kept that Vince thing up the whole time, and I am not apologizing.